Yo, what's up? Have you heard of Christy Mixie? I'm the bad guy. All right. So now we're going to go with the second underrated movie review. And I'm going to be talking about this right here. Brooklyn's Finest is very underrated. Nobody talks about it. Nobody. I don't remember anybody talking about it. So this movie is about three cops. One cop's a city cop, one's a narcotic, and the other is undercover. And they're all in like somewhere in New York. Of course, it's Brooklyn. Um, I didn't write down any notes, so I was trying to do this review a bit faster. So, the first cop we're going to talk about is the undercover. The undercover goes by the name of Tango, real name, I think, Clarence Butler, played by Don Cheadle. Uh, when I first seen it, I wasn't buying Don Cheadle playing this hard guy. I wasn't buying it, but after I realized who he was before, then I was like, okay, I can see that now. I can see that now. Because I remember him from The Fresh Prince in the episode Homeboy, Sweet Homeboy. Well, Will Smith was talking about the Philly cheesesteak and all that. And Don Cheadle shows up and, he had the butt week type of hairstyle. So only thing about him is he just sounds different. I mean, he way too soft spoken to play this tough guy that I thought. But after I realized who he was before, then I could see that. So he his state is a wreck. The jobs that he's getting and the job that he's fighting for, the job he's fighting for is to sit behind a desk and push papers. I forgot what they call it. First grade or something like that. I don't know. Uh, he's trying to get behind a desk because apparently his job is causing his wife to divorce him, and they just keep having outlandish shit for him. Now, one job he just got out of is doing undercover in prison. Now, this kind of takes you back to Half Past Dead when Steven Seagal did some shit like that, doing undercover work in prison. I didn't know cops actually do stuff like that, but I guess it's real. So he did it. They didn't really say how long or what was the job about. They just said that it was told that he did undercover in prison and he survived it. So and then he has to do one last job. The one last job that he has to do is to set up a bus against a guy who just got out of prison named Casanova Casanova Phillips. They call him Cass, and this character played by Wesley Snipes. So apparently Tango is against setting up Cass because Cass is like somebody who helped him or saved his life or whatever. So to to what's the word, to pay him back, he declined. And the person that was giving him the job kind of got pissed because she really needed him to get him, because apparently the judge gave him a get out of jail free card and she don't want him on the streets long. So with him saying that, she had to go push his buttons and all that. And even then, it didn't get him to give in to setting up Cass. The only thing that got him to setting up Cass is his um his supervisor was like, if you do this job, you get detective first grade, and that's the job he was fighting for. And he was telling him it's his last job. But the word I was looking for is like runaround. But that's basically what it was, a runaround. But it was guaranteed to be his last job. And he just gotten approved like the day before. He gets to pick the shift of his choice and all that. So he ends up doing it, and then like uh, in between times, it's like him and Casanova, they were like running a drug thing together. Kind of odd because it seems like while Cass was gone, Tango was like running it. Cause like in the beginning of the movie, you see him riding with his boys. They had the drugs in the trunk of his car. Cause I think one of his operations was in the projects that Wesley Snipes was not Wesley Snipes. It was in a project. It would happen to be in a project that Tango was taking them boys to at the beginning, where this high school student got shot by a cop or some cops. I don't know if it was one or two, but well, I don't know how many was involved, cause I think somebody mentioned some cops, and one kid said no, not a kid, but I think Don Cheadle was like, "Tell me you caught the bastard." So that made me think that's one. So I really don't know. They didn't say it, so we just know it's cops involved in this guy shooting in the project. So he was leading the team. He was leading the operation while Wesley Snipes was gone. Seems like. So when Wesley Snipes came out, they was like running it together. So apparently, apparently, Tango, I think he was feeling way too guilty, and he was even going to give up the job or whatever, just so he won't get arrested because of him. And he called his supervisor, and he was like, "I'm not doing it. Whatever you do, I'll deal with it." And the guy was like, "Yeah, they knew you was gonna do this, and they was prepared for it, so they're moving in on him anyway." So he got pissed and he went looking for not Tango. He was looking for Cass, and mm, and when he found Cass, he was trying to like tell him what was up. He was trying to tell him what was up, and he was like, "This deal that I told you about, don't take this deal." And he was like, "What you mean? We got to make this money." He was like, "Dude, don't take this deal." And then he was like, he took off his sunshades, and he was like, "Why, Tango?" And that right there, that would have stopped my heart for a minute if he did that shit to me. If he just took off his sunshades and looked me in the eyes and like, "Why?" Like, cause when he said the way he said it's like, are you fucking up? Did you get me fucking up? Or so something like this. What am I saying? But anyway, he was like, why? So he promised him that he'll tell him in the car. But he just wanted to get him out of there. So before they was able to get in the car, Cass gets shot by one of his homeboys that he knew from back in grade school, and he took him out the game. It was like a quick drive-by shoot. So that was it for Cass. So what led up to Cass getting shot was it was a scene where they was gonna throw a guy over the rooftop because they believed he was snitching, and Cass was like, all right, stand this guy up. And he walks over there to him, and he handed this guy like $400 or $500 and told him to go get his teeth fixed. Because apparently the dude was taking a lot of beating. And I think what really broke his grill was one of the guys smacked him in the mouth with a pistol. And you could see the blood like shoot from his mouth. And when he did that, the guy was like, "Can you believe this shit? He didn't even throw homie over the building. Can you believe this shit?" And they thought he was going soft. So apparently that's why they did a number on Cass, because they thought he went soft by letting the guy they thought was a snitch go free. And Wesley Snipes told Tango that there's somebody's telling, but it wasn't him. But believe me, somebody told. And I'm saying to myself, the guy you're talking to was the guy who busted your operation. That's what I was saying to myself. The guy who busted his operation happens to be Tango. So now Tango, he went out kind of like kind of almost like a madman, because he went to the projects to find the guy who shot Cass. I think he go by the name of Red. He walked over there to the project, and I think he found him on the top floor. Maybe I'm just saying, because I know he had to take the elevator to get to the floor he was on. He shot one guy, and then he shot Red. And then he aimed his gun at the third person, and the third person unloaded his gun, set it down, and threw it down, slide it down the hallway, and told him that I ain't got no beef with you. So he just looked at him and walked off and went after Red. And the first guy he shot, I guess he bled out. So he was chasing him out of the project into the middle of the street, and he told him that he was undercover, and Red didn't believe him. So he had to show Red his badge that he had like on his waist, and he told him that he just got promoted. And dude like, all right, if you're gonna arrest me, go ahead and arrest me. And dude wasn't arresting him, so he was like, so what, you gonna shoot me down in the street? He was like, yeah. And then he just started unloading on him. And then he emptied his clip and reloaded and was going to shoot him again. And then he got shot by another cop. Now this is not really an issue to just the viewer, because you just see Tango as somebody who just lost it. That's pretty much it. He lost it. I mean, he did lose somebody he was close to or whatever, but the way he went about it just wasn't right, So it's whatever. So the next cop we're gonna talk about is the narcotics. Now the narcotics, they started out with him sitting in the car with a drug dealer, and he was listening to his story, and midway through one of his sentence, he shot him clean in the head. I think dude used like a plastic bag over his gun or something. It was weak. It was weak, but he shot him, took the money, and ran home. And apparently, the money that he stole wasn't enough for this house he was gonna get. He was trying to get a bigger house because, well, for really two reasons. One reason is that the guy got like 4 or 5 kids, and then his wife is pregnant with twins. So on top of that, the house is old and it has like moles in the wall, and the mold is like affecting his wife and the twins. So he really, really, really desperate about uh getting his family out of that house. So he's gonna get money some kind of way, legal or not. That's he wanted. So I think there were like two scenes that they showed that he wanted the money. I think there was like one scene where his team, they got the call from where the guy who gives them assignment. I don't know what they call him, but they had got a call about Tango had created a bust for him, because he was the guy who busted Wesley Snipes' operations in the project. So they went over there to the project, and they 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 was waiting outside. Apparently, they was acting like delivery boys or something. They was trying to deliver a fridge up the stairs, and when one of the guys who came out of the drug operation building, he got ambushed. So hold up, I'm going too fast here. Uh, the Ethan Hawke character, his name is Sal. So Sal had rushed him up against the wall, and he had a gun pointed to his back. He told him that he's going to need to take him upstairs to where he came. So, and the guy was like, "Oh man, they're gonna fuck me up, man. Don't make me do this." And Ethan Hawke doesn't really care, because only thing he care about is getting his hands on that money. So, Sal was taking him upstairs, and the cops was following him. And then there was some more cops like upstairs, and they was making their way down. And the part I didn't understand about this scene was when they was showing the drug operation, there was an old guy who had like just walked out of the fucking building. He just walked out with his bags of rocks, and he wasn't nowhere to be seen. And for him to be like the second person out of the room, like 15 seconds later, he gets pulled to the side. Like, what the hell? But anyway, uh, he was hiding behind a kid, and he told him to open the door. Cause I think he was handcuffed to the he was handcuffed against something on the wall. So he got him to open the door while he was handcuffed against the wall. And soon he opened the door, they kicked the door in and started firing. And you gotta keep in mind, there's a lot of half naked women in there too. And they were just in there firing the first thing moving. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but fortunately, they didn't show any of the half naked women getting shot. So they was moving. They was moving in. Guys was flushing the evidence and throwing things in hiding spots. You know, they even had where the guy put the money in like a Duffelware bag. Not yeah, a duffel bag. What am I saying? Duffelware in a duffel bag. And then they put it in his air conditioner. And then he just stood beside the air conditioner with his hands up. And Sal walked up to him like, "Where's the money? Where's the money?" And the guy was like, "I don't know. I don't know. We don't have any money." And then the dude looked out the window and he saw somebody looked at him and then he took off. So in Sal's mind, the guy he saw taking off got the money and ran because he has a duffel bag too. So he's telling his team that the money had left the building. And then the guy was like, "Where you going? Where you going?" And he was like, "The money had left the building. I'm going to go get the money." So this is his opportunity to provide for his families because he really want that dirty money. So he went chasing this guy, I think half a block. And what messed the guy that he was chasing up was he was trying to go up the stairs. And that kind of slowed him down. So they gave him the little piece of time he needed to catch him. So he caught him, he wrestled him to the ground and gave him two punches. And he went on his walkie-talkie and said that suspect got away. So he's looking like, "All right, I'm getting paid, so where's the money?" And the dude's like, "I ain't got no money." So he looked in his bag and just started, throwing shit down with letting it fall. And he was like, "You ain't got no money? What the hell you running for? You ain't got no money. I could have shot you in the back." And dude was it, he had this really, really, really pissed look on his face after he had to let the dude go. And that was one time he thought he had the money. Now the second time he thought he had the money, they had a raid. I I don't know exactly where they was raiding. It looks like some kind of restaurant. But they went in, there was a lot of gunfiring going on. And Sal and his team, they hadn't moved in yet. I think they was like moving in from like from the first, like from the ground level, going downstairs to the basement area or some shit. Uh, the team was doing the job. Sal, he was like pacing around. He saw one guy that was shot, and I think he walked over there to him, and he whispered something to him. I guess he was whispering like, "Where's the money?" And as you can see, the dude looking at Sal, and he was like, "Fuck you." And then he kind of stepped back and, see the, checking on the coast being clear. And he saw that nobody was paying no attention. So he put 2 shots to him. I think it was 2 shots. So he continued to walk off. Well, not walk off, but he was proceeding to find the money. And when he saw it, it was just sitting right there on the desk. And the dude was like in heaven for like a whole minute. A whole minute he was in heaven. And he was like, "Well, it's time to get my family out." So he set his gun. I think he set his gun down on the table. And then his best friend had walked in behind him. Was like, "Sal, what are you doing?" And then he pulled out a gun and aimed past his best friend to shoot a guy that was coming up behind him. And the guy looked back like, "Holy shit, I didn't see him coming. Somebody check on that guy. Holy shit, he could have had me." And Sal looked so pissed off from that point on because his best friend just happened to saw what he was doing, and before he could, pick up the money, he had to act like that he wasn't getting it. He wasn't going to put his hands on it. So uh, that was a big disappointment for Sal. So I think the way Sal went out, he decided to go to the complex, to the projects, and he gonna decide to shoot up drug members, gang members, and find a stash. Now, this is like the same area where Tango went, and Tango, he had asked some kid sitting outside, "Where's Red?" And he told me he's up there. He's up there, and he just walked past them, going to look for Red. But the kid was sitting outside looking at Sal going into the project. He was like, "Oh shit, this guy don't belong over here. We never seen him before." Now, if you know anything about the projects, is that if you don't know anyone in the projects, don't go, because they don't welcome people that nobody knows. They don't. You have to know somebody, or somebody has to know you. And they don't. I don't mean like know as in, yeah, I seen him before. Yeah, he works at McDonald's, or stuff like that. I mean, you have to damn near grow up with the people. They have to know you at work or at school or something. So, you just, you have to have some kind of what they call it, a welcome. It's a welcome something. I just, it's just not coming to me. But you have to have that type of card. So he got caught slipping. So what he did, he kicked down the door, and I think there was like 3 guys in there. He shot them, and then I think he went looking around for like 2 or 3 minutes for the money. And mm, I think he found some money in a stove, and then he went over to the deep freezer and found some money sitting in there. Oh no, it wasn't a deep freezer. I think it was a dryer. It was a deep freezer or a dryer. Uh, I'm gonna put my money on the dryer. It most likely a dryer. So dude opened the dryer and saw like a lot of money was wrapped in plastic. And dude was like, "Yeah, this is the shit I'm talking about." So he started stuffing his pocket with money and in his coats and moving shit off the table and setting the rap money on it. And then he got shot by the kid who saw him. And then uh, his best friend who had shot Tango out in the street for unloading, for reloading, basically. He shot Tango and ran up to look for Sal, and found Sal, dying. I think he only had like a few seconds left because he was losing blood, and and he knew exactly what Sal was doing, because apparently he was sitting on his desk, and I don't know if it was a newspaper or whatever, but whatever it was, he saw it was circled on the paper. And he was like, oh shit, I know exactly what he's finna do. And he was talking to his wife too, because his wife was calling him and he wasn't picking up his phone. And so she called his best friend to see what was going on. And he was like, yeah, he just left. And he ain't saying anything. So he went over to his desk and looked on his computer, and then he looked down on the desk on the newspaper and saw what was up. So even then, his Sal saw him trailing him, so he stopped the car and got out and confronted his homeboy. I don't remember his name, so I'm just gonna call him his homeboy, his best friend, whatever. So he was telling Sal, I know exactly what you're gonna do. You're trying to steal drug money. That ain't, some shit. He was trying to talk some sense into him, but Sal ain't hearing it. So he act like he was coming to his senses, and he was gonna get back in his car. I think he waited for his homeboy to get in his car, and then he pulled out his gun and shot his front tire out. Now, after he shot out his tire, then he went over to the project. So that's why he was able to get the money, and after shooting 3 guys. And then if his homeboy was a little bit slower following him, I think it would have been 2 dead cops instead of 1. So I want to talk about that gunshot he gave Tango. His homeboy shot him in the shoulder. Now you could see there was a big ass hole in this dude's shoulder. But you're not gonna see it, but I mean, like, from this angle, you could see like his shirt was like this goddamn big. I mean, whatever gun he was shooting him with, that motherfucker did some damage, because that was a big ass hole that he put in the dude's shoulders. Now, of the 3, Sal had the saddest ending. Well, you don't really feel bad for Sal. His family is the real victim. He has about 4 or 5 kids and 2 on the way. And then his wife, if she wasn't working, she probably gonna have to start back working. Not start back working, but start working. Because I don't think they ever said that she was, they probably did. I probably wasn't paying any attention. But I'm not sure that she was a stay-at-home mom or a working mom. And but it seems like she's going to be taken care of anyway, because I think they mention it in a card game that cops like them, their family gets taken care of when they're dead than alive. They're worth more dead than they are alive. So most likely they're going to be taken care of. But you still have to feel bad for the mom because raising all them damn kids by herself is a headache, most likely. But at least one is on their way out the door. Because I think he has like a 16 or 17-year-old daughter. Mm, I think they only showed her one time because I thought he only had babies. Because that's all they showed when he was like, when he went home the first time, when he had the first bag of money that he thought that was going to help him. Uh, but you didn't see any older kids anywhere. So she only showed up when they were having a card game in the basement. So that's that's kind of a sad thing for her. And I don't think she can put herself back out there in the dating world because she has a whole lot of kids. And then just having twins. And I mean, at least she was married. At least she was married. She didn't just have a baby daddy. She did have a husband, and still she's taken care of. So that's the saddest ending in the movie. And last, we have the city cop. His name is his name is his last name is Dugan, but I'm trying to think of his first name. His name is this is Richard Greer's character. Now, Dugan is a city cop. He does everything by the book. He does everything by the book. And he's probably like one of the laughing stocks in the police department or whatever. And and, and when they actually show him in the beginning of the movie, he wakes up and puts a gun in his mouth. This is probably a routine he does because you see him putting a gun in his mouth a lot. He does it often, and when he goes to work, you can see that when he opened his locker, there's a calendar with a lot of X's, and then you see like a week worth of days, and then the last day it has like a crown or a happy face. Uh, it had something I don't remember, but it was a deadline. It marks off the deadline, and the deadline is retirement. So he's retiring in a week. So uh, mm, he has the least interesting lifestyle. You don't feel bad for him. You don't root for him. I think there's times you root for him, but you really be like, okay, what's with this guy? But he's no dummy. He's a veteran, of course, and you know, there was times that he was gonna fight his fellow officers because I think they was fucking with him. Uh, hmm. What else I can say about him? He pay attention to his surroundings because I think he be looking at that bulletin board a lot. Um, what else? Shit, what else? But anyway, so the first thing they had him to do was chaperone. I think that's what it is. They was bringing in new cops, very, very, very young. I'm talking about like 21, 22, 23 years old young type of cops into the force. And they want them to get a taste of the project. So not the project, but the high crime areas. I think the precinct. I forgot what precinct they do, but anyways, there's this young cop. He's real enthusiastic about being a cop. He even talks about every Halloween he wears a cop outfit. He has the toy gun and the handcuffs and all that. And he also realized that dude been a cop longer. He been a cop as long he's been alive. So most likely he became a cop on the day the dude was born, which was interesting. And you don't run into people like that every day, so you really got to take that in. So the dude let the rookie cop sit in the car while he go out and do something. And the rookie cop, he saw that one of the girls was getting mishandled, and he thought he needed to do something about that. So when he was going out there being a cop, Dugan comes out and pulls him away from whoever he was confronting. And he was like, "Dude, you stepped out of line. This is not your precinct. So you don't do this and that over here." And dude was like, the dude was beating the shit out of this lady. I mean, I couldn't just sit there and watch that happen. But it's really, really, really confusing as fuck. But I mean, I'm gonna have to side with the rookie cop on that one though. But he's a cop. He's not supposed to just sit there and watch her take a beating. But at the same time, it's still not his place to step in. Uh, so they had like this conversation at the diner. The cop was like, uh, "That's what you call being a coward and stuff like that." And yeah. I think he was like, "In my book, that's a coward." And dude was like, "Yeah, I'm not much of a reader." I forgot what the conversation was before that, but it seemed like whatever the rookie cop was saying, he had a counter for it. And before they had that conversation where he stormed out of the diner and said that he was going to wait in the car, he was telling him that this is a job you're going to have to do for 20 years. I think he said 20 years. Uh, you got like 20 years of days. This job is already stressful. It takes a lot out of you. And it takes a lot out of you. And whatever you do, do not take it home. And he pretty much got that one on. He got that one down. He can definitely give you advice on that because there's plenty scenes where it shows that he doesn't take his job home. Well, I think it was like one or two. And so you got 20 years of days where he told him 20 years of days. Uh, shit. I don't. What is it? 20 years or 30 years? But anyway, it got to be 20 years because Cause the cop said that he'd been a cop as long as he'd been alive or some shit. So it can't be 30. Mm, okay, so later, I think like the next day, I'm not gonna say next day, but it was like the next scene. They had him at the precinct. Um, the shift manager or whatever you want to call him, he put the dude picture up on the bulletin board. Said that he got shot in Bed-Stuy and he didn't make it. And he looked up and it was the guy that he was trying to teach about the police force, but he wouldn't listen to him. So what they ended up doing, they switched him. They switched him. He was in partnering with the guys he was gonna fight, and then some other guy walked up to him. So that was sad on his ending because even Sal, he was like standing right behind him. He was like, "Yeah, that's kind of fucked up." And he was young, probably just starting a family. That's real sad, you know. I mean that made sense because of course Ethan Hawke's he was in Training Day, and shit, he was just starting a family. And he damn near got his head blown off many times. But anyway, speaking of Training Day, the same director who made Training Day made Brooklyn's Finest. Coincidence, huh? So anyway, so Dugan had a love interest. She's a there's no nicer way to put it. She's a hoe. She she fucked policemen for money and drugs. And apparently Dugan, he went heads over what they call it, head over heels. He went heads over heels over this girl, and uh it wasn't healthy for their business. I mean, the he been paying her long enough, and he should know that women that sees you as client is not gonna have a serious relationship with you. So apparently he didn't know about that, and that pissed her off, and she told him to like get the fuck out. And he kept the watch he bought for. I mean, of course, she said that it was his money that paid for it. So he pretty much got his money back. So that was smart not to leave it with her. So he said, "Okay, I'll just take this watch." So that was a good investment, and he was gonna go. He was gonna go sit in his car and blow his fucking brains out, and then he saw um, this girl that he saw once before in the streets, and then he saw her again, and then he recognized this girl for some strange reason. I don't know how he was able to recognize her because it was dark as shit. Maybe he recognized her from when he seen her in the daytime. That's probably what it was. And she was on a bulletin board that he looks at a lot. Um, so he saw her getting in this van, and I think he took the gun out of his mouth and put it in his glove compartment or whatever, and followed the van. And the van was leading him to the project, and the project, like that last scene where you could see like all three of them was like in the same area, and they all like went past one another. Cause I think he was the only one that was in a vehicle, driving, and Sal and Tango was like walking. Uh, so he went to the to follow him to one of them projects, and I think I think that project is very very notorious. I think they even said it in the movie that it ranks number one in kidnapping, rape, drugs, murders, all that shit. So how the fuck if you having kids and you staying there? I don't understand. But anyway, so he went there. Uh, I think there was like one guy. He was leaving the room going to take a shower or whatever. So when he walked out of the room and went to take a shower, Dugan went into the room. I think he kind of taking the blindfold off two of the women, and they started franticking, and he had to cover one of their mouths, and was like, quiet, 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 I'm a cop, I'm a cop. Uh, Instead of saying that he's a retired cop, because he had just retired that day. Uh, mm, so he was working on getting them out. Uh, so he had one girl to untie the other one while he go to the couch to untie this the third chick. There was a third chick who was laying on the couch. So he almost made it out the door, but the guy came back from his shower or whatever. So they had like no, they didn't fight. They didn't fight. But apparently he saw the three of them girls was they wasn't in shackles or chained up to a to a pipe heater or whatever. And he was like, how the fuck did y'all get up? And then Dugan was standing behind him and he pointed a gun at him. He told him to like lay on your belly and whatever. And he was like, yeah, you damn right, you better not let me see your face. And when he laid down, belly down, he handcuffed him to the pipe heater. So he was gonna take the girls out. And then the second guy came in. Now he actually had an interaction with the second guy who walked in, because when he went to fool around with this hooker the first time, he saw him there. He saw him then before he walked into her apartment. So he was like, okay, I know who this guy is. I remember him. So they had a fight, and he ended up killing old dude with a zip tie. He found a zip tie on the shelf, and somehow miraculously he tied it around the dude's neck and pulled a zip tie where he couldn't breathe. I don't know if he did that while he was being choked, while the guy was behind him, or what. Not he was probably was choking them, facing them. So I'm guessing that's how it went down. So, um, he took him out with the zip tie, and the guy was still talking shit on his belly, handcuffed to a pipe heater. And I think that's like the end of the movie. Uh, the end of the movie, there was like firemen, policemen, paramedics. They was all like out there in the projects. Cause I think the cops were there for Dugan because I think he probably made the call about the girls that was missing because he found some of the missing girls, and the paramedic was there for the dead bodies. Red's body, Tango's, and Sal, and the guy's Sal pop trying to get the drug money. So Dugan, it ended with Dugan walking away from the crime scene, and Dugan was like walking towards the camera, and it freeze frame, and that was like the end of the movie. Now Dugan, he has like the most fucked up ending because um there was a case before where the his new partner fucked up because he shot an unarmed kid while he was trying to arrest him. That was a really, really, really stupid move. I mean, you're not supposed to point your gun at a suspect while you're trying to arrest him. And I guess he slipped and pulled the trigger, and his gun went sliding across the floor, and he killed the some little kid because the owner allegedly saw him putting candy in his pocket. So he was supposed to agree to lie to the public that it was drug related, and he told the guy, "Fuck you." He shouldn't have been there, and the guy he told that to, he had stood up and said that, okay, now I read your files. Your your record doesn't show that you did any outstanding work. You didn't do your record isn't commendable or none of that. So we can damn sure use you to lie to the public for us and with us. So uh, the guy was like sitting behind him, had to step in and said that dude is retiring in a few days. So they couldn't use him. So I guess they had to find another way. So right there, with that in mind, with him he has no accolades. The day he retired, he actually did something meaningful. The day he retired, he did something meaningful that very day, but well, he did it that night. And that could have been something that could have spoken on his career. But it's fucked up. He had the most fucked up ending. And I don't think a lot of people caught that, but I guess I'm the only one who did because I seen a lot of reviews to this movie, but that was a long time ago. That was probably like 4 or 5 years ago when I was looking at reviews to this movie, and nobody mentioned that part. And I can't believe I was the only one who caught that. And usually, I'm not the type of person who catch stuff that nobody else is catch. That's not me. But interesting enough, that's the movie, and it is highly underrated. I recommend a lot of you guys to see it. A lot of you guys. Well, that's my time. Peace out.